Do you prefer an engineering student to join MBA?
Having gone through an MBA, I would say MBA would make a lot of sense for anybody. But the prerequisite for that, I would ask you to check is whether you are interested in business, that an MBA makes sense for you. As I mentioned, I have a lot of friends. In fact, some of my very close friends, they have zero interest in business the way I am interested in businesses. Absolutely fine. All they want is they want a very stable life of work and what he wants to do with that. So the bigger question you want to ask yourself, as I said, this art or this habit of asking the right questions is something that you have to practice a lot. It doesn't come easily. Having gone through the experience, and personally, because I made it a priority for myself, I wanted to develop this skill, I wanted to ask right questions. I can sit here and talk to you and it comes across as if it's easy to do, but I know, having gone through it, it's not an easy skill and it is something that you will be proud of if you do it in the future. It takes a lot of work, but you have to develop that habit of asking those right questions. So the question you have to ask in this respect is, MBA makes perfect sense for anybody who is interested in understanding businesses. Question is, do you want to understand business? Needs people to work and how you manage them. What is the thing that motivates them? Do they need more salary? Do they need a higher education? Do they need more leaves? Do they need just good relationships with other teammates? Do they just need to come on time, leave on time, and that's it? Different motivations. Different people have different kinds of looking at life, right? Understanding these things. Who should I train for the next job? Who is the best person to do this job? So on and so forth, human resources. And finally, almost every business that is out there has something or the other to do with technology. Almost every business. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily internet or data or mobile, but also, let's say you are in a refinery, oil refinery on some coast which is drilling into the ground and pumping out the crude oil that is there and then refining it. There is a lot of technology involved in that also. So basically, that understanding the mechanism of different parts of the setup that you have and the way they work, that part is just the technology. This is broad. There are of course different special businesses which will have some special elements to them as well. But overall, these are the 5 areas where business is maximum concentrated. Now, what you need to ask as the next step is, which of these areas is the one that interests you? Are you a numbers person? You want to go into finance? Or are you more of a people person? You want to go into HR? Are you more of an innovative thinker and you want to talk about new product ideas and stuff like this? You want to go to marketing? You need to ask this question to yourself. What is it that interests me? Maybe today you do not know anything about business, so you do not know I want to go into marketing, operations, or finance and stuff like this. But at least you need to ask question, where do I see myself, or where do I want to see myself in 2 years or 5 years? Is this where I want to develop myself as? Then I will choose that as my specialization. But as I said, because as I said, getting work experience before doing the MBA is important, and that ties back to this point. Is it? If you have that work experience in the past, you already know how these things work. At least you have a basic understanding of it. And then you go through the MBA. The initial portion of an MBA will be very generic. It will not have any specialization. So that time will give you a better understanding of, okay, do I want to do specialization in marketing or finance or HR and stuff like this. So that's basically how I look at it. Those are the things you need to take into consideration when you want to choose your specialization in area. If I can give one strong piece of advice based on what I have learned from multiple people that come back to me and ask for MBA advice, don't go for an MBA before having a work experience. That seems to be the biggest problem that we have with people. I mean, in the sense, a lot of the people, they go for an MBA without knowing anything about business and they're like, I don't understand anything here. Or at least, I'm able to understand everything and I'll do my MBA and come out and then like, back to zero. I cannot use much of what I've learned. So that would be my strong piece of advice. If I can say one piece of wisdom from my side, concentrate on getting some good work experience, diversify your experience, and then you go for an MBA, solid experience. It will help you a lot. Yeah, you wanted to ask something or say something, go ahead.
Sir, but it will waste time.
Call me Santosh. Don't call me sir, but go ahead.
Sir, it will waste time. Suppose
Again, sir.
Sorry. It
No,
will
sir.
waste time. It will waste the time. Now, suppose I will do B.Tech or someone will do B.Tech. It is mentally prepared that I have to do MBA or MS. So why to gain work experience? Means it is just a waste of time. After MBA, we can, if we will work hard in MBA, then we can gradually get a job, and from there we can do it after MBA.
Which
We
means
can learn
that
because they will teach in MBA also now how to work or something like that.
it's,
There will be
it's
some
an-
classes and all.
it's an innocent question, and it also tells me that I've not been able to talk about the point that I wanted to talk about well enough because you didn't understand what I mean. So I'll give you an example. Maybe you'll be able to better understand this. You have to go from. Have you been to Hyderabad any time?
Yes.
How many of you guys are familiar with the territory of Hyderabad? Lots of you? At least few of you, right? So, you want to go from the Secunderabad railway station to Nampally railway station in Hyderabad, right? And you're going in traffic. You're not driving at 2 a.m. in the morning, but at least at 12 p.m. in the afternoon. How much of a difference does it make whether you are driving a Tata Nano or a Lamborghini? It won't make much difference, right? Yeah. But think about it this way. If you're driving at 2 a.m. in the morning, does it make a difference?
Yes.
Why?
Because the traffic will be not there.
Correct. So basically, the vehicle that you use, depending on the conditions where you are doing it, its features, its specifications will make a difference to the kind of experience you get, right? Same thing applies to work also. If you want to make a value-added difference to the business, your learnings from MBA will make a lot of difference. But if you do not understand well what the MBA is all about, then you won't be able to add value to business at all. So it will be a waste of effort. You will, as I mentioned, you will have a degree on paper, you will have a degree in your hand as well, but you won't be able to understand business as well as another guy who has spent some time in work, understood MBA better, and able to bring those learnings to work now. So in MBA, you don't get taught as to how to work. That's a waste of time. That's not how it is. In MBA, what you get taught is how to take a business problem and solve it so that the business becomes better. And to do that, your ability to understand the problem plays a huge role. That you get based on your past work experience. As I mentioned, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody has to get work experience before going for MBA. In fact, which is why there are some schools, some business schools, which accept people also without work experience. But as I mentioned, it depends on the quality of professors that you teach, that are teaching you, and also what kind of work you want to do after.
Well, there are so many successful business people who might have not done MBA.
Absolutely.
But what is the main cause? If we have an MBA certificate, what is the key role in our career?
That's $1 million question. Of course, there is no written rule, and I think this applies to everything in life, not just work and MBA. But I think I also mentioned this in the talk. There are no preconditions to excellence in life. It's all about mindset. If you bring the right mindset to these circumstances, to the situation, I think you can do outstanding job. You can produce excellent results regardless of what state you start from. You have an MBA, you don't have an MBA. You have an education, you don't have an education. You have a leg, you don't have a leg. You have eyes, you don't have eyes. Somebody threw acid on your face, now you are absolutely gorgeous and good looking like Aishwarya Rai. It doesn't make any difference. It's all about the mindset. So it's the same question. The answer to your question also will be the same thing. MBA as such does not make a big difference. What makes the difference is the mindset that you develop after going to MBA. Now, you don't need an MBA to get that mindset. There are many other avenues as well. But as I mentioned, there is a lot of in-depth discussion about different aspects of business that happens in MBA, and that develops that mindset. I will take my example. I cannot speak for everyone, but I can definitely speak for myself. My ability to understand business was not very, very high when I went for MBA, which is why I went for MBA. But I think in this context, it makes sense for me to mention as to why I think I went for MBA. So after my graduation, I went to work for Infosys. And there was one time when N.R. Narayan Murthy, who was the founding CEO of Infosys, he had visited Hyderabad. And there was an open hall where all the employees were asked or were given an opportunity to ask questions, and I got a chance to ask Marrivagu a question, and he liked it. And after the open hall, he gave me 10-15 minutes of personal time. So he was walking from the open hall to another building, and he said I could join him on that walk, and we walked. And the thing is this, it was raining at that time, and he took an umbrella. There was another person who was carrying an umbrella because he's the CEO, right? There is another person who is holding an umbrella for him. And he is so humble, he's such a really nice human being. He said, I will carry my own umbrella. He took that. He put his hand around my shoulders and he said, come Santosh, and we walked. And we walked together and he was talking to me. On the one hand, this humility, this really humble experience from such a learned person made a lot of difference to my humility, my own humility as well. And secondly, the way he talked about the businesses itself. And he told me, the idea of running businesses or creating businesses not to earn money but to solve some problems, and by solving that problem, creating employment opportunity for a lot of people, and by doing this, you're making a positive difference to the social conditions of the land that you're living in. This whole idea of using business as a tool for making the world a better place, that was a really good insight that I got from this really learned man. He's the CEO of one of the very successful companies at that time, right? So since that day, I've always been very, very interested in understanding different aspects of business, and I always wanted to have some kind of business of my own. That was at least original idea at that time. So I kept getting different kinds of experiences, getting exposure to different kinds of things. I always wanted to do my MBA. Different factors, finances didn't come together, family pressure, marriage, and all that stuff. Things went on, so it got delayed, and I decided for my MBA only after 11 years of work experience. I think generally people don't do it. People usually are very, very eager to do it after 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience. People start thinking, I have 6 years, man, I'm already too old for an MBA. You are never too old for anything you want to do in your life, trust me. I've seen people who are 56 years of age, 60 years of age, they go back to school and learn something new. It's about your ability, it's about your mindset to keep yourself fresh and young and being able to learn something new. Age doesn't matter, work experience doesn't matter. For me, it was that idea. So I went to MBA because I wanted to understand business better, and I felt from all the options that I had at that time, getting an MBA would give me the biggest exposure to business. But I'm absolutely with you, you don't need an MBA to understand business. A lot of people, Dhirubhai Ambani never went to MBA. Bill Gates, drop out. Mark Zuckerberg, drop out. Elon Musk, drop out. Do it. Google creators, the guy who created this, Microsoft, drop
They
out.
are top out of Harvard University.
But they did completely. That's the thing. It's about your mindset, do what you want to do rather than the education. Thank you guys, and I wish you that mindset that I spoke about in the beginning. That's the key. Work on your mindset. I think one day in the future, when you look back, you will give a pat on your own shoulder and you say, I did that, I did that. Good.